Okay, my friends, hello. Welcome back to another video of the Diet Culture Debunked series. I have a cute little special guest with me here today. He was sleeping in his favorite spot, which is on this red blanket, and I couldn't kick him out, so we're sharing the scene. Ooh, too much. Oh, I love my little guys. They're so cute. How can you not love that little face? Anyway, okay, so today we are going to be talking about the very popular diet Noom. So recently I've been talking about this with you guys on TikTok and on Instagram, and it's kind of gained a lot of traction, a lot of feedback from you all because a lot of you have tried Noom and have shared your experiences with me. So I got some really good insight from some of you who have tried Noom or have just at least explored their diet. And I made a video a few days ago talking about why as a nutritionist I don't recommend Noom, and I'll kind of recap that right now throughout this video, but I want to get into more detail about it. But before we dive into all of that, let me introduce myself and let me explain what Noom even is if you're new here or if you are blissfully unaware of this diet. Let me fill you in. Okay, hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Katrina Kofed. I'm a nutritionist and behavioral health coach. I help individuals all over the world heal their relationship with food, overcome emotional binge eating, and create sustainable, healthy habits for life using my Fit For You framework to create a healthy lifestyle. So today's video is part of my series, Debunking Diet Culture, which is a series I do here on YouTube all about walking through and sort of reviewing and rating different diets that are out there. This has been really popular with you guys. I've done videos on Optavia and Herbalife so far, and I'm always taking your requests for new diets in the Diet Culture Debunked series. So leave them in the comments below because I always like to hear what you guys have to say and what diet you want to see me review. So today we're talking about Noom, and Noom has been really trendy over the past few years because it claims to be not a diet, but a lifestyle that helps you lose weight and really does it from a psychological perspective. So Noom really sets itself apart in its branding and marketing from other typical diets that you might compare it to, something like Weight Watchers, because one, they claim that they're not really a diet, they're a lifestyle that teach you healthy habits, and they claim that they're also focused on more on the psychology of evidence-based behavior change to help you create new habits and actually change your behaviors. So on paper, it sounds really good. Is it everything that it's kind of cracked up to be? The other thing that Noom has really used as a big marketing tool, at least that I've seen in a lot of their ads, is they claim to help you learn how to intuitively eat and really eat for weight loss in a way that doesn't have you restricting. And this is kind of where I've had some issues with Noom and the way they're branding themselves, because I don't really feel like their claims are reflective of what actually goes on when you sign up for the diet. Now, disclaimer, I have not actually tried out Noom's diet, but I've talked to a lot of my clients that have, and I've kind of gone through and done their little quiz and read about what their diet is like. So take this with a grain of salt. I have not tried the diet, but I'm really curious to hear if you did try Noom, what was your experience with it? And did you like it? Did you find it effective? And let me point out, not just effective for weight loss, but did you feel like it taught you how to have a good relationship with food and how to have good, sustainable overall health habits? I'm curious about that. So the way that Noom works is that when you first go to their website or you click on one of their ads, you go through a pretty comprehensive quiz that gathers some information about you, who you are, and then they also get some information about how tall you are and your current weight and what your goal weight is, okay? So we're really getting into the action over here. But what was really interesting is that you can put your goal weight in, but it has to be above the healthy BMI range. So it has to be a BMI of 18.5 or above, like within that healthy BMI range. So I think, at least that's something, right? Like they don't want people to be underweight and they control for that. So that was good to see. But beyond that, they don't really take into account what your current weight is for your height or your weight loss goal, okay? So this was something I took the quiz, and I put in that I wanted to lose 10 pounds to lose 10 pounds. But the thing is that the quiz doesn't take into account that I'm already a pretty lean person. Like the only thing the quiz asked me about was my current weight. It didn't ask me about really my current fitness level, or there were some questions asking, you know, if you have any other chronic diseases or have ever been diagnosed with diabetes, things like that. But someone like me, I could go on Noom because I think that I should lose more weight, but in reality, like, I don't need to lose weight. I mean, no one really needs to lose weight unless you want to, right? But someone like me who's already a pretty lean person at a very healthy weight for my height, I should not really be losing more weight. Like, I wouldn't encourage someone of my size and body structure to do that because it's not really going to benefit your health. And also it would be more restrictive for me at this weight, at my height, to lose more weight. And I know that because I personally have gone through a lot of weight fluctuations and I have been thinner than I am today. And the only way I maintained that was with a lot of restrictions. So all that to say, there's not really any controls for people who don't need to be losing weight but still want to lose more weight. Does that make sense? I understand most people who are taking this quiz are probably going to be overweight and have some extra weight to lose, so that falls into a different category, but it's kind of like there's nothing to prevent someone who is already at a very healthy, stable weight from losing more weight, which was kind of a red flag to me. All that being said, you go through this quiz and there's a lot of different questions to kind of like identify where you are, but the other main thing that stood out to me was that, okay, quick intermission because we gained another cat in the meantime. They're having a very cuddly afternoon. So they are making a lot of promises about if you follow our plan, you can lose whatever is your goal weight by this, you know, deadline. And I mean, I just think there's a lot of other factors we have to consider when we're helping people with weight loss. And really, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with a diet just being a diet for weight loss. But I think the problem, in my opinion, as a nutritionist, is more when you kind of mislead people about what the program actually is. So by not marketing it as a diet, people start to think it's something else, but then once they take this quiz and once they get into the program, it's actually a pretty restrictive, like low-calorie diet and meal plan that you're following to help you lose weight, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a diet. So that's kind of one of my big issues with Noom, is like, call a spade a spade. There's a lot of people out there who have been through a lot of diets. They've tried a lot of different things that just haven't really worked for them. So when they see Noom and they're advertising of like, hey, this is different, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, you know, like we focus on intuitive eating, we're psychology based, you know, people are like, okay, cool, this seems different because they say it's different. And then you get into it and it's actually just like every other restrictive diet you've been on, which is totally fine. If your goal is just to lose weight and you feel like Noom works for you, that's great, more power to you. However, I take issue with any diet that kind of tries to hide itself as not being a diet when in reality it is. That's one of my kind of like big problems with Noom and the way they present themselves. Number two, my biggest issue with it is their traffic light system for ranking foods, okay? And there's actually kind of a funny story about this. But basically, once you get into the program, they give you have like a personal coach, you track all of your habits and your different, you know, outcomes like progress check-ins, like weight and the food you're eating and your exercise through the app. And that's also where you check in with your personal coach. Now, in that, you get a couple articles to read every day, and you can kind of choose how much time per day you want to spend learning new material and learning from these articles, which is great. It's great to have consumers learn more and, you know, have people take a more active role in their health and wellness instead of like, here's this plan, follow it, you'll see results, but you won't really understand why you're seeing results or how to maintain them in the long run, right? So I like the teaching aspect. I think that's awesome. However, the traffic light system, it's gotta go. It's such a big no for me. So really, it relies on teaching you green, yellow, and now orange, what used to previously be red light. Okay, this is what's so funny. Foods, and categorizing them into these three different categories to rank foods. So lower calorie and nutrient dense foods that are super healthy and nutritious are ranked as green foods, right? So fruits, vegetables, you know, lean proteins, that type of thing. Yellow foods are going to be the foods that are higher calorie and maybe not quite so nutrient dense, but are still important. And then orange foods that were previously red light foods. So think about that. Like, they must have gotten enough harsh feedback about the red light piece of foods to warrant changing it from a red light categorization to an orange light, right? Like, that says a lot to me as a practitioner that did not go over very well and they had to end up changing that category. So I think that's kind of funny. red light or now orange light foods are going to be things that are more processed, you know, like fried foods, foods that are higher calorie, foods that are higher in oil. However, the issue with this is that other high calorie foods that are otherwise nutrient dense and healthy, things like, let's say, Greek yogurt or almond butter, peanut butter, avocados, those are also orange light foods. So this is kind of where the issue comes in, that foods that are higher calorie, regardless of their nutrient, their micronutrient or macronutrient density, are still ending up in this like bad food category, right? And this is where we kind of get into the biggest problem, is that you're not really teaching people about the whole the whole picture of how to evaluate foods, right? When we're evaluating food, like let's take something like avocado toast with eggs or tofu scramble on the side. You're not gonna like eat an avocado as your entire meal, and even if you were, like, that's a nutrient dense food and that would be okay if you chose to do so, right? But it's more like when you start to look at your meals, it's like, oh, this has so many red light foods in it, I shouldn't be eating it, is this bad? All of a sudden it casts out into all the meals that you put together, and now suddenly you're back to being encouraged to only consume low calorie foods, right? So it brings us back to like really stereotypical diet culture meals, like low calorie salads, like low calorie vegetable soups, you know, lower calorie vegetable bowls with lean protein for dinner. There's nothing wrong with those foods. They're very effective for weight loss because they're low calorie, they keep you full because of the fiber, and quite frankly, they have a lot of nutrient dense foods in it. I'm all for people eating nutrient dense foods. Like, I specialize in plant-based nutrition, among other things. However, what we really miss here, like, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater by not teaching people about the big picture of food and understanding like how a higher calorie food like avocado or Greek yogurt or peanut butter fits into the big picture of their meals throughout the day, and how things like healthy fats can actually help improve satiety and also prove satisfaction with your meal, so that you feel like your meal was more tasty and delicious, and you're not going to have you know, urges to overeat later, or you're not going to have cravings later on, like that type of thing. So this is really my biggest critique of Noom as a diet, is that you're teaching people another way to restrict their food instead of actually teaching them about the big picture of different foods and how they fit together into different recipes, to different meal preparations, and into our culture and society. And this is kind of my like critique of a lot of diets in general, is that they don't take into context someone's culture. They don't really take into context, you know, the worlds that someone lives in, like how much time do they have to prepare food, like what are their favorite meals, you know, that type of thing. And that's really where in my programs I use what I call my Fit For You framework to really help you figure out how can we implement different health and nutrition strategies to fit for you into your life, instead of taking you and trying to like put you into this more cookie cutter formulation of like a low calorie diet, right? So obviously, again, if you're looking to lose weight, Noom can be really effective for that. I just don't think it's super sustainable in the long run, because what you're relying on to help you lose weight is consuming low calorie foods using this ranking system for a long time. And that's just, in my opinion, not really the best way to teach nutrition and holistic well-being. I think we can teach people how to understand nutrition, how to implement solid nutrition habits, and teach them how to consume and prepare well-rounded and nutritious, balanced meals without needing to focus on like this traffic light system, and without needing to only emphasize like low calorie foods. So that's really my big thing, and kind of like where my programs stand apart, I think, because I focus so much more on the whole picture of nutrition and eating and our interactions with food and our relationship with food, not just like what's going to help you lose weight quickly. All that being said, if you do want to lose weight, and if you're like, yeah, I have some fat I'd like to lose, you can absolutely do that. But you can do that through the lens of understanding how do you build nutritious and satisfying and satiating, well-rounded meals that actually fit for you, and your preferences, your personality, your habits, your lifestyle, the time you have to cook, all these different factors, instead of like, here is a low-calorie meal plan that's probably going to be okay. Like it's certainly not the worst meal plan I've ever seen. Like Noom is definitely not the most egregious diet out there. Please see my Optavia video for the most egregious diet I've ever seen. So it's totally fine in regards to other really awful diets that are out there. But I think what I don't like, and the feedback I got from a lot of you in the comments on my Instagram video, were that you feel like you've been misled by that this is supposed to be like a different lifestyle, when in reality it's just another low calorie diet that sort of uses a slightly different system from something like Weight Watchers, which Weight Watchers uses points to encourage you to eat lower calorie foods. Noom uses a traffic light system, right? So overall, would I recommend it to someone? No. But do I think it's that bad? No. I think if you have absolutely no knowledge around nutrition or around health, can it be a starting point? Yes, but really at the end of the day, the biggest problem with the traffic light system is that it introduces a moral value and moralizing food, right? So these red and orange light foods become bad foods in our minds and foods that we should stay away from, even though a lot of them are perfectly healthy, like avocados and nuts and seeds, right? Just because a food is nutritious doesn't mean we should eat it in really high quantities, but that doesn't mean it's an unhealthy or bad food either. And same thing goes for like French fries and hamburgers. Should we eat them all the time? Of course not, but you can totally have them as part of like a normal and nutritious balanced diet, right? And this is really important for people with their relationship with food. And that's really where I think, again, my perspective is always gonna be, what's your interaction, your beliefs, your feelings, and your behavior around food, not just like, what are you eating? Here's a lower calorie version of everything that you're eating. So let me know what you think about Noom. What's your take on the diet based on this video and just based on what you've seen? I'm super curious to have more of a conversation with you guys about this. If you are interested in a more holistic and integrative approach, my program, The Method Healthy Habits for Life, is for you. You can find more about it in the link in the description below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to catch all my upcoming videos. I think that's all for now. Thanks so much for joining me and have a great day.